Hi guys, welcome back to Piper vs YouTube channel. Curiosity meets the core. Today we'll be discussing about how to create a Excel data visualization with GUI with Tkinter. But before that, we'll be checking the packages pre-installed in my system. So the first command that I'm going to execute in command prompt is pip list, where you can see all the packages with the versions so I can give a look about what package is what version and update it accordingly. So you can take a look onto your packages. If not installed, please do install it. You can just Google how to install and there will be a command for that to execute in command prompt. Another command to check for all these is pip freeze, which gives a similar output where packages with the version will be mentioned. So let's start with the code. So usually we are importing the libraries. So first one is the line imports the tkinter module and aliases it to tk, allowing you to refer to it as tk throughout the code. And again, the next one from tkinter, we have imported file dialog and message box. This line imports a specific modules of file dialog and message box from the tkinter package. These models are used for handling file dialogs and displaying message boxes respectively. And then pandas is also imported as PD. It's a powerful library used for data manipulation and analysis. And then matplotlib to plot a certain kind of visualization of the data. Now let's see the functions of the program, which is one is browse file, and then we have for visualization of a data, we have a different function, and then we have the GUI set up for the entire program. So let me go one by one. So coming to browse file. So here the line starts the definition of a new function named browse file. Functions in Python are defined using the def keyword followed by a function name and parameters. And then we have given file path is equal to file dialog dot ask open file name, file types and Excel files and the dot .xlsx or dot .xls. This lines open a file dialog window using file dialog dot ask open file name method, allowing the user to select an Excel file. The selected file path is stored in the file path variable. Then there is a if loop. So the if loop will, this line checks if the file path was selected by the user. If file path contains a non-empty value, the file path, the condition evaluates as true, and the file clears the content entry to the widget and start to the end of the tk.end. And also there is this entry dot insert 0 comma file path. This line inserts the selection file path into entry widget at the position 0. Let's move on to the next function, which is visualize of the data. Here, def visualize data. This line starts the definition of a new function named visualize data, and we have given file path is equal to entry dot get. This line retrieves the content of the entry widget and assigns it to a variable file path. Again, there is a if loop. If not file path, this line checks if file path is empty. If it is meaning no file path was selected, the condition evaluates to true. And we have returned this line exits the function early if no file path is selected, preventing the further execution of the function. And then we have try. This line starts a try block which is used for exception handling. Code that may raise an exception is placed inside the block. And then we have df is equal to pd dot excel file path. This line uses pd dot read excel function from the pandas to read the Excel file specified by the file path into the data frame, which is a tabular data structure used for storing and manipulating the data. And we have print.df.head. This line prints the first few rows of the data frame df to the console using print function. This is useful for checking if the data was loaded correctly. And we have print df.columns. This line prints the column name of the data frame df to the console. This helps in verifying the columns of the data frame match the expected columns from the Excel file. And then we have a if condition. Here if condition, if length df.columns is less than 2. This lines check if the number of columns in the data frame df is less than 2, meaning there are not enough columns for visualization. Then message box dot show error. Error, Excel file doesn't have enough columns for visualization. This line displays an error message box using message box dot show error in the Excel file if the Excel file doesn't have enough columns for visualization. And then we are using matplotlib, that is plot.figure. Figure size we have given as 8,6. This line creates a new figure with specified size for plotting. And then we have a for loop. For I column in enumerate df.columns, this line iterates over each column in the data frame df using enumerate, which provides both the index I and the column name column. And we again are plotting. This line plots the data from the each column on the same plot using plot.plot function from the matplotlib. It specifies the x as the df.index, the index of the data frame, and the y as the df.column. The values of the current columns assign a label to each line and specify a unique color for each line using the plt.cm.tab10 color map. And then we have a couple of plot x label, plot y label, plot the title. So here we are initializing the x label as x-axis label, y-axis label, and the title of the whole plot to be data visualization. And then we have an except function, which is this line starts an except block to catch any exceptions that may occur during the execution of the code. Instead of the try block, it assigns the exception objects to a variable e for the further examination if needed. So if this except function is run, we have message box dot show error, which is error, an error occurred. This line displays an error message box using message box dot show error if an error occurs during the execution of the code inside the try block. It includes the error message obtained from the exception object E. So let's move on to the GUI part. So moving on to the GUI part. So first one is root.tk.tk. This line creates the main window Tkinter root for the GUI, and we have given the root title as data visualizer in the next sentence. And then we have frame is equal to tk.frame root. This line creates a frame within the root window to organize and contain other widgets. And then we have frame.pack pad x is equal to 20, pad y is equal to 20. The lines uses the pack geometric manager to display the frame within the root window with a padding of 20 pixel in x-axis and y-axis. Then we are label is equal to tk.label frame text is equal to select the Excel file. This line creates a label widget label within the frame with the text select file option, and we have label.grid row is equal to 0, column is equal to 0, pad x 10 and pad y 5. This line uses the grid geometry manager to place the widget within the frame at the row 0 and column 0 with the padding of 10 pixel, and for x-axis it is 5 pixel on the y-axis. And then we have entry is equal to tk.entry frame width is equal to 40. The line creates an entry widget within the frame with the width of 40 characters. And we have entry.grid row 0 column 1 x-axis padding will be 10 and y-axis padding will be 5. This line uses the grid geometry manager to place the entry widget within the frame at row 0 column 1 and padding of 10 and 5 for x and y axis. And then we have browse button. We are initiating the browse button where the title is browse. This line creates a button widget within the frame with the text browse. With the button clicked, it will execute the browse file function. Now browse button grid row is equal to 2, column 2 and pad x is equal to 10, pad y is equal to 5. This line uses the grid geometry manager to place the browse button within the frame of 0, 2 with the padding of 10 and 5 as usual. And then we have the visualization button where TK is used, TK dot button frame. Text we are giving the main heading as visualize data. This line creates a button widget within the frame with the text visualize data. When this button is clicked, it will execute the visualize data function. And then we have visualize button grid. This line creates grid geometry manager to place the visualization button within the frame at the row 1 and column 1 with padding of 10 pixel and 5 pixel as usual, X and Y respectively. And the last part is root.main loop. This line starts the Tkinter event loop, which listens for events such as button clicks and responds to them. The program will continue to run until the user closes the Tkinter window. Let's quickly see the output of the program. Before that, I'm going to show you the Excel file that I am uploading to see the visualization of the data. So you can see there is A, B, C columns, and I've given random numbers up to 10 columns, 10 rows. So we'll see how the plot will be plotted. So as usual, I'm going to go to where the file is stored, copy the name, open command prompt, and in command prompt, python space filename dot py. So as you can see, there is a GUI window where I'm going to browse my Excel file, which was shown before, and open the file in the GUI visualize data. So you can see there is A, B, C, separate lines that are plotted with different numbers, and it's a line plot. You can visualize various data also. If in case you have a larger amount of rows and columns, you can actually see the visualized proper data with just uploading the Excel file. Thank you so much for watching. If you have learned something from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.